Hey everybody, happy Monday night. This is March 20th, 2023. We are across the pitch. Once again, Jose, we are shorthanded tonight. Dave is not with us today because he has some sort of work obligation. So I feel like these last couple weeks have been musical chairs with across the pitch. But Jose, you are here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you, Mike. And this is, I think, as I mentioned it last week while you were super producing in behind the scenes. I mentioned it to Dave. This is the beauty of having three chairs, right? Me
Yes.
injecting myself into the show and more or less becoming a member and finally being a member gives you guys a bit of flexibility. Gives us all a bit of a flexibility when it comes down to life getting in the way and having to take care of, whether it's personal or work stuff, just being able to continue to have a show, which is what we want to make sure you all can expect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for people who don't really know us too well, we all have full-time jobs. We're all like I'm a parent, you're a parent. I know Dave is obviously 5 hours ahead of us, so we all have full-time jobs, which kind of get in the way of all this hobby of union talk. So you're right, having you on board has definitely helped us with just being able to figure out, okay, do I have to talk for 20 minutes by myself tonight? Do I?
Never
Because
mind press conference and coverage, right? I think that has been probably pretty helpful to you all.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it's well, especially this season because of how many games there are. It's these past 4.5 weeks, 3 weeks alone have been just so chaotic. But
Yeah.
yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I know your son was sick, Dave was out for work, so I was talking with Alex, and then last week my daughter was very sick, so I had to take care of her. I was producing in the background. So maybe next week we'll have the whole gang here, but for right now, it's just the two of us. It's right now, it's a fun time in sports. As you guys know, I know Jose, you know very well. I am a huge college basketball fan. And for me, March Madness is here. It's the best time of the year. I don't care what anybody else says, it's the best tournament in sports. But the madness seems to be trickling into other areas of our life. One, health wise, right? Our children keep getting sick. But two, there was a bit of a mess in Montreal, a little bit of madness in Montreal. So for those of you who haven't watched the game, and we'll talk about the Apple cover up conspiracy in a couple seconds because trust me, I believe there is one and I'm going to stick with it. The Union went to Montreal after what has been a very tough stretch of games, and they lost 3-2 in a very MLS Cup final fashion. Jose, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to shoot to you. What are your reactions to the Montreal game?
A roller coaster of a match, I think, is probably the best way to describe it. Where fair to say that the first 45 were just awful by the Union, right?
Mm,
Maybe the last 5 minutes, was
35. Yeah, but go ahead.
maybe the last 5-10 minutes, right? We
Yeah.
finally woke up with a Carranza chance, and I think Gazdag had a shot as well. Ua, I think, also had a shot those last
Yes,
10 minutes.
yes, yes, yes.
So let's say the first 35 were just a slow start, and I hope it's not indicative of what the rest of the season is going to be. It seems like we're slow starters this season for some reason. Neither here or there, but fast forward to the second half and just how we bounced back and resilient to the point that we took a lead,
Yeah.
right? A beautiful double goal, well, two goals by Ua. The
Well,
first one, a snapshot right around the body of the defender in. And then the second one, I forget who assisted, but that ball was just perfect.
it was a
Right.
Gazdag.
Was it Gastek?
I
A
believe so.
perfectly lofted ball. Ua, pure diesel, just ramming it right down the middle. Maybe
Mhm.
got a nice angle across the body of the goalkeeper. 2-1.
Yep.
But then we have Apple being Apple. And we have a second yellow card for Julian Carranza, which we didn't get to see. I still have not seen video of it. I don't know if you have. Obviously, the replay's not up. So.
Now that you mentioned it, I don't believe they did show it. So let's take a step back and talk about Apple. Besides being a delicious fruit, the company itself is something that is certainly bothering a lot of Union fans of late. I personally enjoy the package pass that MLS has been putting out. I think it has a lot of positives. I love watching the replays of any match I want to watch, especially for us in particular. We're playing Orlando next, right? So it's like I want to watch Orlando and get a vibe for them. But the commentators aren't the
Mm,
best. They have their moments. They can't pronounce certain names for sure.
but we were
I-
just so spoiled.
we
We were
are we were
so
spoiled.
spoiled
We were
with what we
spoiled.
had.
No, we were. I mean, listen, and they cover us directly, not these
Right.
nationwide commentators. But I know a lot of people had issues with the camera work, and just the replay in general. Like you mentioned, the yellow card. And now we have this little conspiracy that I have built in here. So after every single match, go into the Apple site. Now I know it's not the most user friendly, but you go down, you go to how to watch, and you go to recent versions, whatever that is, and you hold it, and it pops up with this option of doing English, the 7-minute final. You can do the English 90-minute version, and sometimes Spanish or French, whatever. It gives the options. As soon as the game ended, the next morning I woke up. I was like, I'm gonna watch just the last 20 minutes. Couldn't do it. Couldn't find it. Nobody could find it. Now I saw it later on. It was posted again that they had actually put the versions link up there. So, okay, great. They finally got to it. And now I went to go look at it now, and it's gone. Again, it's saying content not available. The way that game ended was so embarrassing to the league because of the VAR issues that a part of me feels like Apple is purposely not putting this replay up to watch because it really does not look good for the league, nor does it look for Apple. So I would like for you, Jose, to elaborate, maybe for people who don't know what I'm talking about what the issue was with VAR and Apple in that context.
I've never seen it. Jim commented in the press conference after the match that he has never seen it.
Yeah,
Mr. Losada, head coach of Montreal, and perhaps one of the best looking coaches I've ever seen in my life, as well as best dressed,
sure, sure.
was sort of taken back in a way, but agrees with me and I think a lot of people that despite the call being right, where we are, or at least, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mike, where I'm concerned is, yes, we ended up getting the right call.
Yes,
Kai kept the player on side.
yes,
It's how we got there
right.
that has led to a lot of, I think, ill feelings about everything that happened and transpired, and maybe even devolving into conspiracy theories, which we will go there. We're not too
Oh, yeah.
high up in the totem pole to
We're
not
going
go
there.
there.
We're going there.
We're
Go
gonna
ahead.
go there. Um, it, listen, I thought that waiting as long as pro ref did to issue a statement about the game, I think it was at some point today
Today, yeah.
in the morning or maybe early afternoon, there was finally a statement, was curious to me when in reality that should have been a statement that's made maybe 45 minutes after the game, considering everything that they said, which was sort of a nothing burger, right? Of during the review, we did not have this angle. So then we were able to get the angle that showed Kai. So we called the center ref to tell him to look at VAR to correct VAR. That was
Right.
correcting a missed call. So the level of I'll curse, sorry, but the mind fuckery here
Yeah.
of doing all this to me is kind of, you guys just set a precedent, right? If you're a coach in this league, and I don't think Mr. Losada, or at least he commented during the press conference, that he did not immediately call for a second review, but rather some of his staff was aware of it. So I'm sure maybe they watched another replay that maybe we didn't see. I don't know what gets streamed to the iPads that they have
Yeah.
on the sidelines, that they were aware of that miss of Kai Wagner. And frankly, they're even on the pitch, so they're able to see it at field level that Kai was getting up at the end line, therefore keeping everybody on sides.
Right.
So the precedent now is, does any coach have the ability to demand a review of a review? I
Like a
know it sounds,
challenge.
yeah,
Yeah.
a challenge of a challenge. To me, that seems ridiculous,
They
but it's the
VAR.
reality.
Yeah, they VAR the VAR to the fullest extent. It was a very chaotic end to the match. Like, again, it was the right call. So what people saw initially was the fact that when the first shot went off and it hit the post, you had about one or two players offsides or offside at that point. But from what the commentators are saying is that once the ball hits the post and it comes back down into play, it was essentially a new play that was being created. So not only was he onside with Glesnes or may have been on the border, Kai was right. I usually said right there, so it was easily the call that it was the right call. Um, I feel like with all the money that Apple has, this should never be an issue. This should be simply we have the angle, the cameras at the right angles from the right positions. And from what I heard on Twitter is that one of the players even asked the fourth official to look at it again, and the fourth official agreed with him and suggest. There's been so much talk online about what might have happened that led up to this. It just looks like shit. It really does, and it costs the union big time. Um, I mean, leading up to that point, let's just talk about what happened during the game that kind of got the chaos started here. So the Union go down 1-0 almost immediately. What it was a shot off, what was it, 18 or something like that.
Off of
Basically,
Mbizo to a handball by Glessness, I
it,
think.
yes, exactly right. Bizo hits hits Glesson's hand. It was a handball. That's it. Whatever. So be it. So you're down 1-0 within the first 45 seconds of the match. I was happy to see Ua get on the board. I know we have basically been seeing Ua getting his chances. He's been right on the doorstep. He had one great opportunity in the first half that just barely got saved by the keeper's legs.
Yep.
I don't know how that even happened. And the first goal he had, which was within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the second half, was a bit lucky, to be perfectly honest with you. He kind of just turned and shot and hoped for the best, and it hit the right corner at the right angle.
That's a scorer's goal, though,
That's a
Mike.
score, and no, it's 100% is.
It is. It is one of those shots where he doesn't even have to peek up. He knows where the net is, and he
Right.
knows to just strike. And
But
yeah.
but nothing has gone Ua's way
No.
as of that point. Everything has been either offsides, he's hit the wrong ball, whatever it might be. So I feel like when I saw him hit that second goal, that was I got that monkey off my back. I'm gonna drill this where I need to be drilled at the right, and that was the second. I feel like that was much more of a confidence goal rather than just let me just shoot it and hope that it goes in kind of thing. And at that point, it's 2-1. I'm feeling so much better. You guys had picked 2-1 as well for the score prediction. I was hoping it would finish. And now the issue I had was Julian Carranza and the subs. So Julian had been kind of chirping with the ref all night. He probably got talked to, Jose, 5 or 6 times?
Yeah. Julian was very chatty to the point that it felt like I was watching Kai.
Hey, Adam.
Hi,
What's up,
Adam.
man? Thanks.
It really felt like I was watching Kai, or even worse, I think he was as chatty to the referee as a Martinez, and I was just amazed for someone who I've met him on the farewell last year when they were getting on a bus to then go to the plane to LAFC for the final. Spoke to him in Spanish. Very calm, very collected. In his post-game interviews that I've watched throughout the past 2 years at this point, or a year and a half, or a year and change that he's been with our squad, seems very calm, again, collected. Maybe he's feisty on the field, but there was something about him on Saturday that was just not his usual demeanor, right?
Yep. He seemed, well, I mean, for one, the ref was kind of giving him a hard time the whole night too. It wasn't just strictly him. It felt very much like Carranza back in the LAFC game last year, where he was just kind of really aggressive. So you go up 2-1. Carranza's been sitting on yellow now for a little bit. And I think it was like the 68th minute when this happened, if I remember correctly.
Which is crazy to say out loud, Mike, and sorry to interject.
No, it's
fine. This game devolved in 20 minutes, and that's what a team. Well, maybe I take it back. I was gonna say that's what a team that's able to handle being a man up can do. Whereas the Union, we're not great at handling being a man up. Not often, I don't think.
No, I agree. So at this point, we're waiting for the subs, right? We have the 11. The starting 11 was all there. The normal 11 was there. I had wanted Pereira to start over Bedoya. I thought Pereira earned it. We talked about this when the starting 11 came out. We thought he just scored a brace in the CCL. Great opportunity. Ali Bedoya has been playing nonstop. Like, when are we going to give Ali a break? Why not give it to him on a break on this crappy turf that they had, that the rubber was so obvious from the camera angles?
Oh my god!
It was like black patches all across the thing. And listen, I mean, I've played on turf. I hate it. It's just the worst.
I had relatives who have not touched a soccer field, whether it's grass, turf, or the indoor carpet, that were texting me saying, "Is it raining black water there? Like, what is going on?" Because every single time the ball would bounce, it would A, kill the spin, but B, every time the ball was being passed, let alone a player sprinting and their kickback, there was a cloud of black pellets. Just the ratio was not good. And sure, they comment that was a new field, but I raised my hand to ask a question to Losada and to Jim to maybe get a comment from them on the playing surface, because A, this is not where Montreal usually plays.
True.
and the Union notoriously bad at playing on turf over the last
Yes,
few
very
years.
true. Sure.
So
Revolution, look at them, right?
yeah, there's some teams who do great and probably even excel playing on grass, but they base their home matches on turf fields. I think of Atlanta. I think
Yep.
even their stuff is turf too.
Yep.
Um,
It's all football.
yeah, I had wanted to ask the question, but as you can imagine, Jim was I think 3 questions deep and he was out.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's certain press conferences you just let Tannenwald, George, and Tansy take over, and you say, "Okay, guys, we'll see you later." Um, so the turf was terrible, and I don't understand. And that's the thing too. Let's talk about the grass. This episode is just bitching. I'm just gonna fucking say it. It is a lot to just get annoyed by. I don't understand how hard it is to get a field properly playable. Super Bowl, for example, was awful. You're spending, what do they say, like $800,000 on this field? Get it right. That's it. Just get the field right. Same with the rubber. Just you have templates across the entire world of how to get a field right. Just get it right. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a landscaper. I don't know these things like off the top of my head, but I feel like they make enough money and should have enough experience to get these things right. Or
E-
maybe I'm just spoiled by the Union and how great the field is every single time.
having been on the field of the Union, albeit for the pregame stuff, that was my first time outside of Premier Soccer, travel soccer with
Yeah.
FC Revolution, going to Baltimore or the Lancasters of the world for tournaments where you have those really, really nice fields that
Yeah,
are only
man.
used by the 3 games, the 3 different finals at the end of the weekend, whatever, after playing round robin. The Union was well above anything I've ever played, even with those
So
really nice
nice.
fields that are actually catered to be professional like. So uh, we got to get Ian Altmura, who is a colleague of mine. Well, up until Friday, he is our groundskeeper for athletics over at Swarthmore College, and he and I have had many conversations about him at one point pushing to change our turf field, which was something that we already had sort of decided. And when he came in, they wanted him to weigh in. Do we remain turf or do we go grass? And what does that mean cost wise?
Right. Cost. Yeah.
And what are the pros and cons of that decision? And I think he would be a wonderful person because I look at fields like Charlotte. How can they not get a field right too? Which they often have issues, and players have complained about it being too hard all the time.
Really.
Always too hard. Yeah, I mean, I both in football and in soccer complaining about it. So yeah, it's we got to get him on the podcast at some
Bring
point. Maybe
remind.
maybe when I'm not a colleague of his anymore,
There
he
you
can
go.
just come in freely.
Reminds me of the Veteran Stadium, how they had the concrete underneath the AstroTurf. I mean, listen, like I said, I'm not a groundskeeper. I'm not gonna pretend like I know how to do it, but I feel like, my God, there should be enough out there to get these things correct. But anyway, so the turf sucked. I was hoping that Ali would get more time off just to get him off. I want to see Pereira. I do. I really think that he's smooth with the ball. I think he brings a great dynamic to the field. I just want to see him play.
Team
Anyway,
of the week. Team of the
team of the
week for the
week.
Champions League.
Team of the week. I feel like he earned it. The same with Bueno. I thought Bueno earned a start against Alianza on the second leg, but he did not. So be it. Anyway, so we go up 2-1, feeling good about the game. I thought to myself, when you're going to make these subs, as Jim always does, around the 68th, 75th minute, take Karan's off first. For one,
Mhm.
I was feeling it. He was a goal away from a hat trick. I don't know why he's not playing 90 minutes. Get Karan's off, because you could tell he was on the edge of just being taken off. And sure enough, he does a stupid penalty. I think I do. I think I remember seeing it. I don't know why, but I feel like I saw it. But it was a clear foul from what the commentators were saying, and he gets a yellow card, and he's off. So now you can switch to the you're down a man. Now later on, Jim brings on Chris Donovan for UA, maybe like the 75th minute, give or take. He brings on who else did he bring on? Pereira, right? He brought on Pereira, and then he replaced Gazdag with. Who did he replace Gazdag with? Do you remember? I gotta look.
It was Donovan and
I'm looking right now because I don't remember at this point. It's been now too long after
we've
the
been
game.
going down the rabbit hole of the
We've,
conspiracy
we've
to
been
be
just
thinking
going
about
on.
it.
Oh, it's sorry. Andres Pereira replaced
Yeah.
Gazdag. Damian Lowe replaced Bedoya. Donovan replaced Ua. So what they did was they went 5 in the back with Damian Lowe, which is I thought was a good sub to have Damian in there. I think he's played well. I think he earned it. I didn't have a problem with Donovan coming in. I didn't expect Donovan to score. I know that he was there simply for the fresh legs to get him as much as you can within 20 minutes. I
Just
would
pressure.
just pressure. I would like to see Quinn Sullivan. Someone made the argument, well, they understood why Donovan over Sullivan. I frankly don't. I feel like Sullivan has experience, especially playing CONCACAF with the U20s, to have that game time experience to do what he has to do out there. They actually looked pretty decent in the 10 men setup. Do you agree that they actually held their own fairly well in that like final 20 minutes or so?
I mean, I hate to say it, Mike, and be a contrarian here, but did they, considering that they gave up 2 goals?
I'm talking about no, I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about
Oh,
before that.
okay.
I felt like between the 68th minute and the 88th minute, they looked like they were going to pull it off.
Yeah, I said to my wife when the second goal for Montreal went in, as soon as the ball left for the cross, I was like, all right, that's going in. They're gonna tie
Yeah,
this, aren't they? And yeah, of
yeah.
course they did. Just had that feeling in my stomach, and my wife was like, "How do you do this? How do you guess this bullshit?" It's like, well, too many good things had been happening leading to it, and
Right.
too many bad things were happening to the Union leading to it. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I maybe the final 19 minutes were just fine enough to do the
Yeah.
job, but that
Right.
last minute plus madness that felt like 20
Yeah.
were enough for us to blow it. So, I mean, I can't comment much more than that, right? It was just piss poor. Exact vibes of LAFC.
Well, Olivier gets beat off what I think the last 2 goals, if I remember correctly. He
Yeah,
you can point a lot of fingers. I have to point my finger at Jim. I mean, I feel like he should have seen Jim Carranza's issues earlier in
sure.
that and said, hey, we gotta get him off. Put in Torres. I don't care. Put somebody in that's not going to cost us the game right here. Um, Julian needs to be smarter than that. He can't be acting that way, especially when you're up 2-1.
I don't even know what the foul was. Was it him stepping in front of a restart? Like,
He
because I
like
often
he, like
I often
knocks
see
somebody
that.
over.
Okay, I often see that in the MLS where I'm thinking even for our players, like they're trying to restart the play. Someone stands up. The attacking player who's behind the ball says, give me space, give me space. No, you're an idiot. Kick it at him. You're gonna get him a yellow card. Like that should be cemented in their brain to do that as the offensive player, but of course, it just never happens. I honestly still don't know if you're right that it was someone pushing somebody over.
I
Then
think he hit somebody. I need to
my
watch. I was trying to watch a replay, but
God,
Apple won't let me. So
what a stupid foul.
yeah, it was a super foul. So there's a lot to blame to go around. If the Union had won that game, I would have said it was the best win of the season, hands down. You go down 1-0 super early. You finally get UA on the scoreboard. You have this great finish to what has been a very long 15 days. It has been. It's a lot of travel. You go from Chester to Miami to El Salvador back to. It's been so much traveling. It was a great way to end it. If you just ended 2-1, you come back and just with even with a man down, right?
Hmm.
But now it turns into what has been a very frustrating loss. Um, and what has kind of been a frustrating season, man. It has. You play against Columbus, you don't play well for half the game. You go to Alianza, the pitch sucks. You go to Miami, you get beat 2-0. You play Chicago, you barely win against Chicago at home.
A man up.
A man up.
Well,
Yes,
two men up if you count that.
well, yeah.
Extra time, whatever, red card.
Right. Yes, you beat Allianz at home, but I mean, granted, you were gifted that with the red card early on, so I'm gonna let that go. And then you have this match against Montreal. They just can't seem to figure it out. They still seem out of place. But the positive was they actually look better against Montreal than they have been earlier throughout the season. So I'm looking at it in as best I can, best silver lining as I possibly can. Um, but they just don't look. They don't look like they're together right now. I
Well,
mean,
Mike,
yeah. Go ahead.
something to keep in mind is how spoiled we are again. Like,
Sure,
let's go back. All right, Columbus. Where do you want to start off? Where do you call the start of this? What was it? Miami.
Miami.
Okay, so one loss, one tie, one win, two wins,
A
2
loss.
wins, a tie, and a loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we'd say that's incredible.
Yeah.
For
Sure.
a stretch like that, and how compacted the schedule, whatever you wanna call it, was, we would be through the roof thinking that we got what I just said. What was it? 1 and 1?
2-2-1
2,
because you
2 and
lost.
1?
Yeah. two
Okay.
two and one. Mm-hmm.
We would be thrilled, but,
Sure.
we've reset the standard for what union soccer is, for what our expectations are, bringing back 90 what was it? 92, 95% of the minutes from last year back.
92%. Yep.
The teams have adapted to us. That is no secret. Teams have improved as well. So have we. So we thought, like Miami, right? They've
Sure.
improved significantly,
Oh, they look
especially
good. Yeah.
yeah. So it's really interesting, and I think it's a sign of good things that in the fandom or the fan base that we expect more from this team.
Sure.
And I'm sure the players are hearing it. I would pay a pretty penny to have been a fly in that locker room after this debacle of Montreal, where, you mentioned had they won, that would have been a great win. Of
Would have
course,
been an awesome one. Yeah.
any win is a great win. To have tied that still feels like a loss, unfortunately, especially with the way
Sure.
that we reset the standard. Whereas last year, let's back up, Mike. Where did Ua score his very first goal for the Union?
Nashville.
Okay, sorry. Second goal, then, I think it was. Montreal.
Yeah.
A man down to tie it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, how we've raised the standards for what Union soccer is, where last year, being a man down, we tie that game 1-1. We felt okay with it. We didn't
Yeah.
know any better, I guess. But here we go and lose it in the fashion that we did. Sucks. Had we tied it, we would have been pretty disappointed as well. So, just to keep things into perspective, right? Yeah,
Sure.
things are improving, and we all want more out of this team, especially with last year, 92% of those minutes back, plus the additions. I don't know, man. I had asked the question. I'm probably going to seem like a zealot. People are going to hate me for it. Maybe, whatever. I respect the man, but could, again, Perea have been the man to go in for Bedoya, provide the agility, provide the passing? Like, I don't
You're
know.
so usually I feel like I know what to say, what to talk about when I'm doing this show. Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm very um self-aware of what I want to say. I don't know what to say tonight. And it feels weird to say that while I'm live in front of a camera. But I just don't because I had higher expectations for this team, like you're right. But I see things that could be done differently that kind of bother me. And I
Yeah.
think the Perea thing is one thing for sure. I think the fact that um Tanner's additions have been great, right? I posted on Twitter the other day. You have Torres with a goal and assist so far.
Yep.
You have Damian Lowe with with a goal in the CCL, which was a great goal to kind of get that win, right? To secure it, and obviously we scored after that. And then of course Perea with the 2 goals, he's looked great. I thought he played very well in El Salvador as well. I thought we can all agree he's looked really good since he's been on. And I think what bothered me right now is Jim's approach to these rotations. Even let's go back to the El Salvador match.
Yeah.
Why is Donovan and Sullivan both in the game at the same time to start that game? Why not bring in Ua for half and then switch it out and do like that? You go and you say you want to reward these players and you want to give them they earn the time, then reward them for the effort they put in the field. Then why isn't Bueno starting against Alianza at home?
Listen, you and I had that same thought in the group chat
He
of
played so good, and I thought he was one of the best players on that field in El Salvador. He should have been starting at the 6, and then you have Bedoya playing again. If Andre Blake needs to play every game, and of course, thankfully for his position, keepers can obviously play more because they don't have to move around as much, right?
until they tear
So they
something
tear something,
moving.
of course. So I understand like a player like Blake plays every game, right? But would the Union have been so far off their ability without Bedoya playing against Alianza at home in Chester? No. Why not put Perea in there and let him start? Why not even put Bueno in there and put Jose on the right? Why? Why does it have to be so difficult? And then after playing a game just recently, you go to Montreal and you come the same exact lineup, same exact 11. Like
Yeah.
What is Flock doing offensively for us? Also, like Flock's had a couple nice moments, but what the hell's McGlynn? Why can't McGlynn start a match? Why are we limit?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jose. I don't know.
Yeah, the
Go ahead.
confusion of
Take it away. Take
no, no, no.
it.
I hear you, Mike. And again, this is good frustration. And
hmm
whether we have 100 people listening, 200, 800, whatever, or
Yeah.
5, 10 people listening, please know that this criticism that we have is because we care and because
Right.
we expect more, especially with everything we've invested. And we're not waving the white flag, giving up in the
No.
season. It's certainly
No.
not. We're not. We might. We're not. I don't think it's crisis mode yet, but it's sort of
No.
like, oh my god, what's going on? We're not Charlotte right now, right?
Right.
Losing, was it 3 in a row, and then finally winning one, despite having home games somewhere in there
Yeah. That's
too.
ridiculous.
Uh, so please know that as you're listening and watching and commenting, but we just care. That's all.
Yeah.
But I mentioned it to you guys in the group chat. I mentioned it probably in our preview as well and some other podcast. I'm really interested to see how we signed Bedoya to an additional year.
Yes.
Again, I'm very thankful for what he's done to the community, what he's done for the team to continue to move the stature of the club higher and higher and higher. What does the transition look like from him to someone else? Because right now I don't see that there is a transition because the man is playing just about every single damn game, right? And that's fine. Was it a gym decision of Blake is out? Who's going to be captain? Bedoya has to stay in. Someone has to be captain with leadership, right? I don't know. Glessness, Elliot, just putting some names out there that could have
Elliot.
worn that armband. Yeah, right. So again, Gazdag, who has played out of his mind the last season and a half. This year, maybe a slower start. He's not scoring as much outside of the penalty kicks and whatnot. I don't know. I'm really interested, not concerned, interested on how we transition away from a player who has done a lot for the team over the 7, 8 years at this point for the
hmm
union. How
Right.
do we transition from his leadership to the next person? And what is it going to take for us outside of money to keep someone like Bueno, McGlynn, and Perea when those deals are done? Because right now, Perea went ahead and put a man of the week or team of the week performance in as a substitute. I think just about. No, was he a full time player for Alianza?
Oh, he came in after for Bedoya, like the
Okay,
60.
there
Yeah.
you go. In 30 minutes, he went ahead and put a team of the week performance against Alianza. Right. Then you have Bueno, who has put in 3 years of work, mainly with Philadelphia Union too, gets a chance, unfortunately, on a pitch like Alianza's, which was just as bad as Montreal, but in a different way. And
Sure.
then you have McGlynn, who is a promising young talent who I'm sure got a lot of phone calls to move abroad, decided to stay with the Philadelphia Union. Not that he's regretting it, the season's long, but those three should be playing a lot more than they have already,
Exactly.
considering the older players that we have in the team and the quantity of matches that we have in this very, very long season. I
Even just UA. Like
I asked you
you
guys,
you you
should we
have
be concerned?
you
70
ha-
minutes still.
you have Karan. Like I understand taking him out against Montreal. I get it. You want somebody who's just strictly going to press and get the ball out. You're not trying to score. You're just trying to press and counter. I get that. But a game like Chicago, right? You're taking him out in the 60th, 70th minute. Why not take Carranza out once first and let
Mhm.
Uwa finish the match? Like, it's not like Carranza's playing out of his mind right now either. He's really not. I think even the Chicago game I mentioned, like he looked kind of off. What is either that game or one of the other games? At this point, they're all blended in together. Um, no, but you're right. Listen, they have 6 points in the MLS. Let's look at the table real quick, right? The too early look at the table. So first place we have Atlanta. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're in sixth place. We have 6 points. Atlanta has 10. So it's not like we're at 1 point and panic mode's on. We're right there. You win on Saturday, you're right back in the mix for the top of the table. We're
We're
not
not we're not
panicking.
we're not Charlotte.
No, we're not panicking. We're in the CCL quarterfinals. The League's Cup's coming around. Open Cup. I'm not worried about that. I just have high expectations for this club. And listen, for what it's worth, Jim Curtin hasn't won anything with us, really. I mean, we had a supporter shield when we played the Revolution 7 times. We had the Eastern Conference Final championship, which was great, but we still haven't gotten that big trophy, right? That big MLS Cup. There's pressure on him to finally deliver this year, and he has these depth pieces there to deliver. who are playing well, and they're not playing enough minutes. That's just it. That's where the frustration is for me tonight. Because I feel like as much as the Montreal game may have been some unfortunate turn of events, I feel like some of it was self inflicted. And unfortunately, you kind of have to look at Curtin at that and say, hey, how could he have done this differently? How could we have approached this differently? Um, Even just having a different starting 11, maybe the beginning of the game goes differently with a different starting 11. So I don't
Yeah.
know, Jose. Any last thoughts before I continue to Orlando?
No, listen, Team Perea all the way here.
I am
I'm
too.
really intrigued on how do we infuse him into this squad despite Jim's, I don't want to call it stubbornness. I'm not trying to be too critical of him. I know our job is to be critics and to talk about it and try to be realistic about what the problems are and potentially the fixes. But
Right.
and I don't want to pretend that I have all the fixes. Neither
No,
you or
neither
I
do
or
I.
Dave.
No.
We're not trying to be football managers here with our team, but the man is talent. The man is talent. He's silky smooth. He was so silky in Alianza, despite that field being a cow pasture,
Yeah.
that how he doesn't play more and is it Jim afraid to ruffle feathers? Listen, if I'm Perea, I'm thinking Jim. I'm knocking on his door this week saying, Jim, what does it take? I gave you a man of the again team of the week performance in 30 minutes against this squad.
Hmm.
What else does it take? I could be doing as well as Flock. I could be doing as well as Bedoya. What else can I do to get this time? And I this week, and I'm sure we're gonna touch on it, but against Orlando might be his chance. And looking weather-wise, like we might have some rain. I know it's too far
Well,
away to think about it, but we can talk more about
I
that.
mean, let's talk about the situation with Orlando. So we have a lot of people going to call ups. I know you have what Quinn, McGlynn, and Craig gone. You have Martinez gets called up to was it Venezuela. You have Gazdag gone. Damian Lowe is gone with the Jamaica. You have Odada's gone with Kenya. Kenya. See a lot of people gone this week.
Which is a
So
great problem. It's a great sign of our team.
it's a great problem to have because the starting 11 they're going to have is still starting 11 worthy, right? We're not going COVID year here. So
No,
this,
I'm where I'm going with this is it just shows the quality of our team. To get that many players called
that's
up
true.
is
That's
awesome.
true. That's
It's a
true. That's
great
fair.
sign and what Ernst and Jim have been building to have that many players called up at all
And this
levels.
and this is where Carranza really effed up more because of
Oh
how
my god.
shorthand. Let's just get to that in a second. So Joe Tanzi puts out a tweet earlier today. So the Saturday roster for the Union. In goal, you have Bendick and Trent. Defensively, that's pretty much all good. You have Elliott, Glessnes, Harriel, Real, and Sorensen and Wagner. So you really not miss anything defensively on the back line, which is great. And by the way, Joe Bendick, he's doing okay. He's hanging in there.
Uh,
Thankfully Blake isn't going to be gone for too long, but Bendick's doing what he can do. I have no problem with him. So midfielder, you have Bedoya, who's going to start and probably play 100 minutes. You have Bueno, Flock, Perea, Raffanello, and Torres. You have forwards Donovan, Pierre, I'm sorry, and Ua. So you have a lot of players missing.
mhm.
Starting 11, you're going to go with a diamond per usual. So you'll have Bendick, you'll have the back four. You're going to have Bedoya, Bueno. No, yes, you're going to have Bedoya, Bueno, Flock, Torres, and you're probably going to have Ua and Donovan. That's probably gonna be your starting 11. Do you agree with that?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know where else they go. I mean, I
I I can think of a couple ideas, but
I,
I'm not gonna say it right now. But go
I
ahead.
mean, Jim will Jim, right? And that'll be that. I'm hopeful to see some different faces, maybe perhaps of that too.
Yeah,
But again, to the quality of what we picked up over the summer, the off season, I should say, not summer, in the MLS, transfer period, and we have again a quality 11
yeah.
um, for either the A or B squad. Despite the the dumbest red card, my God, what he
But
would have had a field day too.
but the thing is though, if you had Carranza, you would have had a back four that stayed the same. You would have had a front two that stayed the same. The only real difference would have been your 10 and your 6. Everybody else would have been the same. You would have Bedoya on the right. You would have Flock on the left. You would have obviously had Bueno and Torres be replacements, with Torres a starting caliber player. So you would have only made 2 changes to your starting 11. Now you're making 3, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but I just don't know. We don't know what we're going to get from Donovan for 90 minutes because that's what's going to happen. You're going to have Donovan and Ua up top, and then you're going to go with Donovan staying there for 90 minutes while Ua comes out, or you switch it to a Christmas tree and you go 4-3-2-1. So then you would put Ua up top by himself, and you would have Torres and Perea
I
in the
don't know,
10s.
man. I want
If
Perea to start.
So if you switch up the formations like that, you could do that. You could have the 2 behind Ua. You could have Perea and Torres.
Do you see any universe where Bedoya doesn't start this?
Can you just give me some sort of? And listen. I love Bedoya. I have him. He's my
Yeah.
favorite. I have him on my jersey. He's my favorite jersey. I love
There's a long
Bedoya.
season ahead.
I
That's what I'm
know.
getting at.
That's it's not a knock on Bedoya because I actually think he's had some good moments. It's not a knock on him. It is simply we have this player on the bench that is so good. That
Yes.
from what we've seen so far, has been so good. Now I just want to see more of him. That's it. I just want to see something different because we are not playing as well as we should be, and I just want to get into a rhythm. And you see it against Chicago. You had so many just bad passes. You see it against Miami. So many bad passes. Columbus, you can't seem to get. There's been so much inconsistency with our attack. There have been times when we are just passing the ball, nobody's shooting, which was basically the whole Chicago Fire game. Nobody wanted to just shoot the fucking ball. So then you had Torres finally taking the team on his back and shooting a ball that should not have even gone in to begin with. That's all I'm trying to do is not take away from Bedoya, not take away
Even
from Curtin, just to do something different. That's it.
even in Montreal, Mike. I mean, how frustrating. My wife noticed it, that she never played. She played youth soccer, but that's where
Right,
it
right,
stopped. She even noticed something along the lines of like, why are they trying to like pass it in?
right.
Like
Right.
a lot of this, it's beautiful when it works. It's frustrating when it doesn't. Where you
Yeah.
had
Right.
Gostak try to let the ball go through his legs, trying to get Carranza to flick it in, and then Gostak pass it across. Switch it up. Take a shot from outside the 18. Make the keeper work. Keep it on frame. Who knows? You get a situation like in Bizo where it flips up, hits somebody in the arm like Lesnes, and then you have a penalty kick. You were just not adventurous enough just yet. And to
Which
Bedoya, again, like we
Yeah,
love
go ahead.
him, love him, love him, love him, love what he's done
Yeah.
again for the team over the years. But just get some rest, man. You have a long season ahead and you're going to be a big part of it. Just take a break.
Well, which is great. Which is see, that's the thing. When the first half was ending, that's when you started to feel like the old Union was coming back from last year. They were taking
Yeah.
really great. They were taking great shots in net. They were really testing the keeper out. Ooh, I was like just chomping at the bit. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for all season. And then
Yeah.
as soon as you start the second half, boom, they score right away. I'm like, finally. It almost felt like a relief was taken off my shoulders, like watching this team,
Yeah.
because it's been like, oh, this is what I was waiting for all year. Which is, I know it's only been a few weeks, but all year, right? And then it just the way it ends just kind of sours that. It almost if you just look at the game from the 30th minute to the 88th minute, it was a positive outcome for the Union. If you look at it in that vacuum, take away the red card, just in that vacuum, right? It's everything else that makes it a problem. So when you if you're trying to move ahead to next week, focus on
That
that.
Mike, that's 50 out of 90 minutes.
Shut up. It was funny because I usually stay around. I mean, you know me. I always stay around to watch a press conference and to watch the games. And I just went to the bar. I literally just turned my phone off.
Yeah.
And I left. And I was like, I just couldn't do it. And I'm not like that typically after games. I'm not even like that now on camera. I'm frustrated, man. But we just care, Jose. We care. We give a crap about this team, and we want to see them do well. In Orlando, I know we'll be missing. They'll be missing Khaleesi, right? Or Galisi? How do you pronounce his name?
I would think it's pronounced Gayese.
Gayese. Gayese makes sense. Yeah,
And man, he is.
he's
I
great.
I, I think again our little group chat. He is Blake-ish. He is very, very,
Is
very
he
good.
your early goaltender of the year candidate?
Based on how the Union have played, I would say he has to be. I mean, granted, some of his games or the games I've watched thoroughly have
Yeah.
been in the Champions League, not so much MLS. I haven't really been able to follow them too closely, as we obviously have our main duty with the MLS with the Union, but man, against was it Tigres in the Champions
Yeah,
League?
Tigris. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a good squad. The guy, and there's a reason why they call him. I think they call him El Pulpo, which means the octopus.
Right.
It seems like the guy's got 8 arms because he is everywhere trying to get everything and getting
Hmm.
everything. So he is, I would say so. Yeah, from what I've watched from those two games, he's making some incredible saves and kept that score closer than it should have been.
So he's out. You're going to have, I believe, one of their attacking players is also going to be out. So you're going to have a couple absences from them. But regardless, you can have enough of a quality starting 11 this Saturday to get the job done. Expect longer minutes from every single player that starts. I don't see them making a ton of subs, maybe a couple pending the way the game flows. Hopefully it's an easy win and we can just replace them and whatever. But um, the Union have been scoring a little bit more, which is nice. They kind of getting them on the board. Obviously you have a great game against Allianz. You put up 4. You do find the back of the net twice against Montreal, which is again it leads to another. It snowballs the next. So I'm hoping that this team comes out angry. These substitutions come out ready to play, and we go and we have a good win. And next week I'll be a little more fluid and happier. I was like, because I don't know, I'm just annoyed tonight.
No, I hear you.
What's your score prediction against Orlando, and what is the anytime goal scores? Because listen, I won last week. I just want to say it. I said Kyoto was going to win, and my extra bet was over 2.5. Both teams to score, so I finally get on the board for the betting side of things. But what is your prediction for this weekend?
Well, I think this will be the first and probably. Well, I don't know do we know how long the suspension is for Carranza? Was it deemed a 1 or a 3 match?
It's just a one game.
Just a 1 game. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't say Carranza for the first time this year, which feels wrong. I would say it's a 2-0 Union win. I think we are going to see a goal by Ua, and I think Perea is going to start and get a goal in the second half.
So you say 2-0, Ua and Perea. They're going to score. So now, if you're going to have Perea start, what's the formation? You're going to go with the Christmas tree, or you're going to go with Diamond?
I think you just go diamond. Just swap out Perea for Bedoya.
That's not going to happen, but okay.
I know it's not, but dude, I'm optimistic. At some point, you have to think that the legs just give up, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't want that though. We don't want that. We want to see him do well, but I agree. It's an issue. I'm gonna. So you said 2-0. I'm gonna go with 2-1. I don't think they have a shutout. I don't. I think Orlando does enough to get on the board, especially with Bendick being so. So I'm gonna go 2-1. I do think they win at home. I'm gonna go goal scores. I'm gonna go Torres because I know he's gonna start. And you know what? Let's go Chris Donovan. Why not?
oh my god,
Let's do it.
Mike. Let's have a little modifier here.
What?
Over under how many shots against the Union? Think about it.
Against the Union?
Yeah. Bendick and net, not Andre Blake. We may have we would be missing one person out of the back 4.
No, you're not missing anybody out of the back 4.
Isn't Mbaizo gone?
I don't think so. Is he? Oh yes, he is. He's well, it's Harriel. Harriel's playing. So Nathan's playing. I'm confident in Nathan.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying with Bendick and net, I would not be shy to take a shot.
All right. I'll say 6 shots on goal.
You think 6? I was gonna say over.
You're saying over 6. You're saying like closer to 10?
Probably closer to 10. I think, especially with how we like to give up possession.
Okay. 6 to 10 shots on that. Let's just write it down. Why not? I think the Union are going to need some luck. I wouldn't be surprised if this is also a 1-1 draw, to be perfectly honest with you. The way they have been playing lately, I can't trust that they can score more than 2 goals. But again, they're at home. They play well. I think the fact that they lost the way they did is a bit of a good thing. I do. I think sometimes you need to get your ass kicked to kind of wake up.
Maybe we got that out of the way, right? We won't have a last-second match winner against us in the MLS Cup. It happened on a regular season game.
I'm going to quote you by saying we don't want to be playing our best soccer right now.
Dude, I always say that, right? I always spit that line.
Silver lining, we're in the quarterfinals for the CCL. That is going to be on April, I want to say the 4th, correct,
That
Jose?
is correct.
April 4th.
A little
Yes.
PSA for season ticket holders. If you're not aware, you have to opt out of that match from your ticket plan.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's automatically added to you. I forget the exact date for the deadline. I think it's the 24th at a specific time.
It's
You
Friday.
have to opt out. Otherwise, they will charge you for the number of tickets that you own. Myself, own two. I'm okay with it. I'm trying to find somebody to go with. If I can't, 24th, I think I set the reminder on my calendar.
Wait,
But
you
just
don't? I'm going.
oh, you're going? Do you want my ticket?
I'll go with you. Sure.
Are you going to actually stand with the people or be in the press
Oh,
box?
I'll stand with you.
Okay, great. So April 4th, we're going to go.
April 4th. It's a
But
date.
for for those that can't make it and don't want to be charged for 2 tickets that they weren't expecting, or some people who have multiple season tickets that beyond 2, just be mindful of that. Keep an eye on it. I don't think that's a great practice. I get why they do it. But just a quick PSA, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. I got a ticket out of this. I was gonna sit in the box, but I rather sit with the people. This, as
No,
you say,
that's midweek with Mike. Are you kidding
midweek.
me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
So
my
two.
god.
So the fourth is gonna be the first match against Atlas in Chester, which is weird that they did the home match at Chester first, but
I
is what
hate
it
it.
is.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Or we win like 4-0, and we go there and just
I
get
don't
close
trust
score.
us enough right now.
I don't trust us enough either. Um, So again, we have a game on Saturday night. The three of us will cover it. We have the CCL match on the 4th, which will be about 15 days or so. So there's lots to look forward to with the Union. Let's try not to get too down. But before we get off tonight, let's read the sponsors because I almost excuse me, I almost forgot.
Question, Mike, will you be there this weekend?
No, I will not be there this weekend. I
Bummer.
know I will not be there this weekend. I apologize. It's kids' night. I'm sure everybody's thrilled by their 7:30 p.m. start. I saw Twitter was going crazy with that. All right.
I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, I know you are. I commented on Michael Borton's tweet saying people just stop complaining. All right. Check out Statement Games at statementgames.com for a fun new way to fancy sports entertainment. Win gift cards and prizes. Free to sign up at statementgames.com. We have the Doan Distillery at the Trolley Barn Public Market in Quakertown, PA. Go to doandistillery.com to check out their wide variety of drinks and spirits. Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant, Allentown, PA. Discover a new favorite by trying their top pizzas and so much more. Check out their new website at vinnyspizzarestaurant.com. Stuff the Grills at 6750 Iroquois Trail number 5 in Allentown, PA, and stuffthegrills.com. Homemade hot and cold sandwiches, salads, appetizers, baked goods available for any event. If you're having a Union Watch party, order from there. And then lastly, the Across the Pitch gear and the AAT Sports Network gear at aatsportsnetwork.com/shop for all the bunch of fun new gear, like, let's say, this shirt, for example, if it's still on the website, or maybe even this shirt.
Whoa.
Fun stuff. Again, that is our show. We are Daveless tonight. He should be back with us next Monday, which will be the 27th. Again, the Union play on the 25th, Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. They have a kids' night. If you have a child that can stay up past 7:30, which I do not, bring your kid to the event beforehand. I think there's going to be like face painting games, like stuff like that. After the game, if you want to wait for an hour and get onto the field, you're more than welcome to. Bring your child there. Just, I guess take them off from school on Monday if they can't recover on Sunday. I don't know what you want to tell you. But that is Across the Pitch tonight. Thank you for hearing me vent for the past 45 minutes. Jose, any last thoughts?
Fun fact, this
Yeah.
show was 100% less British.
It was all Latino show today.
We're breaking barriers for the
We're breaking
Philadelphia
barriers.
Union.
It is.
And
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting. I didn't even think about that, Mike.
It is funny. We're all born in different countries. So Across the Pitch stayed true even with you joining. We were all
Yeah.
different
Oh my
backgrounds.
God.
Here. I love it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's great. Brown people unite.
That's right. I didn't know what to name this show, and the Across the Pitch made the most sense. I'm glad it's at least still relevant. Anyway, guys, yeah, go ahead.
Jokes aside, thank you so much. Again, just wanted to reiterate, we love this team. We truly do. We criticize it, but we still love it. We argue about it. We still love it. We get frustrated with it. We still love it. Just want it to succeed.
That's it. It's tough love. We're from Philly. We want to win. That's it. If it's boring, if we always do smile and say how great the team is, we have to have an episode once in a while where we just vent it out and let it go.
It wouldn't be genuine, and that's the problem.
No,
right?
It wouldn't be genuine, which is what we are. Anyway, guys, have a great night. Happy Monday. Go Union.